Welcome to Classic Game Room. Every now and then I encounter a Game Boy game that really impresses me, and this is one of them. It's Dead Heat Scramble for your Game Boy. The best games on the Game Boy are games that are fun but reasonably simple. Games like Tetris, for example. Although I'd rather play this than Tetris. It's Dead Heat Scramble. All the way from 1990, a racing game, and racing games in particular can frequently struggle on the Game Boy's small screen. Or the big screen, depending on the game. How about racing a truck through a giant half-pipe? Dead Heat Scramble doesn't really say what this game is, and after looking at the cartridge artwork initially, I thought it was going to be an RC Pro-Am clone. And sometimes those can be really bad, but this doesn't play like RC Pro-Am at all. It's actually a pretty clever racing game that manages to work really well on the Game Boy screen, the big screen, or the Game Boy Advance SP, which is where I got my high score, so that's the one I recommend. As you can see, you can drive right through traffic, and you'll want to do that because sometimes you'll get a power-up. And when you get to about level 4, you won't get through the level unless you have some power-ups. Also, Dead Heat Scramble has a few things in common with Sega's Mighty Outrun. There's like 2 different levels of crashing. There's crashing that kind of slows you down, and then there's completely wiping out, which effectively ends your race, because you'll never make up that lost time. There's numerous obstacles in the half-pipe to avoid, like giant boulders, how'd they get there, barriers, and of course, some sharp turns. You have 3 vehicles to choose from. To be honest, I really didn't see any difference between them. And several power-ups, including a time freeze, turbo boost, extra grippy tires, missile, and invincibility, which is the best one. Try to knock as many vehicles out of your way as possible. That obviously gets way harder the further you progress into the game. I actually like the music in Dead Heat Scramble, but the sound effect when your time is running out is super irritating. In order to avoid that, just finish the race before your time runs out. It's easy, right? No, not so much. This game actually gets really tough really fast. It'll require some half-pipe tube memorization, and also quite a bit of luck. Power-ups are completely random and they make a huge difference. You can score some bonus points if you do really well, but the main challenge is just making it through each segment of track. I found that at the end of each stage I was just trying to run into every car and get either the time freeze or invincibility. It's intense. If you lose, you'll be dead, heated, and then scrambled. That's what the title stands for. I like this one. You'll never hear about it, but it's fun, it's quirky, plays really well on the Game Boy or Game Boy Advance or whatever. And I've got a Classic Game Room shout out and thank you to send to Corey from Nashville, Tennessee for sending this to the show. Thank you, Corey. Dead Heat Scramble won't cost you much, and it's totally worth it. Be forewarned, by level 5, this game is brutal. You can continue, but then you lose your score. And where's the fun in that? Dead Heat Scramble, super highly recommended for your Game Boy. The little bit of added color on the Game Boy Advance SP looks the best, I think. Of course, that's my favorite Game Boy. This game rocks. Thank you for watching. Follow Classic Game Room on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Don't miss Magnum Skywolf, also on Patreon. Welcome to the club. It's the Lord Carnage Club, where I give thanks to these backers on Patreon. Starting with Jim Moriarty, Sergio Matthias Hergert, Zach Brenner, Jason from Kamloops, British Columbia, Busy Signal, woo! Shadow Minion 4, Lord Carnage, Al Stiver, Sean Zoltek, nah, I'm just kidding, Sean Zoltek, Stephen Chucknick from New Jersey, Landon Ellerby, so Lando, Philip Straubenmuller of Vienna, Austria, Jack Stavros from Australia, Ohad Kane, Jeff, Captain Dauntless, Briar, Rick, DeBarros, Will, Kid Shuriken, and Chip Sankbale. See you next time on Classic Game Room. Mark 3!